Hey guys, it's your boy Dr. Mallow, and today we're gonna be talking about moving. So kick back, relax. Sadly, I don't have Skittles, but I got y'all here, Honey Bunches of Oats. Comment down below if you think you need to eat the brand cereal. Like, you know how there's Frosted Flakes, the real ones, and then like with the tiger on it, and then there's Frosted Flakes with like a polar bear sometimes. Like if you go to Aldi or something like that. So comment down below, like, cause it tastes the exact same. So would it matter if you ate the on brand or off brand version of a cereal? And also, how do y'all eat cereal? Do you put the cereal in first and then the milk, or the milk and then the cereal? Because if you put the milk and then the cereal, I believe you're a psychopath and I will call the police on you. Stay away from me. Anyway, so we're gonna be talking about moving and just my overall experiences with moving and all the pretty interesting stories that I've had happen through all the houses that I've lived at. Where I used to live in Illinois, my mom owned a daycare, and so we had it like in our house, and so we tended to move a lot just to get bigger houses so that she could fit more kids and stuff like that. And I remember vividly one of the main houses that I used to live at. This kind of ties back into the this was the same house where me and Christian used to hang out at, and this is the same house that my phone kind of disappeared under a pillow and stuff like that. But I remember I ripped my toenail off at that house. Yes, I've ripped my toenail off twice. This is the second time. This was the first time, but this is the second time me telling a story like this. So I was watching Total Drama Island because I'm an OG like that, and we used to have a TV in our room, so I was watching it in our room, and I was kind of hungry. So I was like, all right, during this commercial break, let's go take a snack break. You know what I'm saying? So I get up, and from my perspective, I didn't close the door. I just, kind of left it open a little bit of a crack, you feel me? And I go to the kitchen, I look for a little snack, I eat a little bit, and then I start running back. Now I'm looking at the door, and it looks kind of cracked. So my thought process is I'm gonna run up and like karate kick the door. I might get in a little bit of trouble because what are you doing karate kicking the door? But it's pretty cool, you feel me? I'm gonna just quacha, and just get back to watching Total Drama Island. So what ends up happening is I kick the door, and as I kick it, the door kind of bends, and I'm like, oh, it's opening. But it didn't open, so it snaps back and like latches onto my toe. And instead of me, opening the door, I start pulling my toe, like my foot out. And as I'm doing that, the door's actually taking I believe it's my left ring pinky toe, and it's pulling my toenail off from the back all the way to the front while I'm trying to pull my foot out. And so it kind of just rolled up my toenail all the way to the top like it was like a carpet or something, bro. And I start freaking out. I run up to my mom. I'm crying. I'm freaking out. I'm like, Mom, we need to call the hospital. We need to call 911. We need an ambulance. Da, da. And she's like, what are we going to call the ambulance for? Why are you crying? And I'm like, look, my toe's messed up. Da, da. Because under your toe, it's kind of just blood, for real, for real. Like, it's just a lot of blood and nothing else, for real, for real. Like, not that I can remember, at least. So I'm spazzing, and she's like, calm down, it's really not that serious. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not serious? I don't have a toenail. She goes, she gets the first aid kit, she chops off the little rest of my toenail, cleans it, disinfects it, and I just had to wear open toe shoes, like slides, flip-flops, for like a good couple months until my toenail regrew. And now it's literally just back to normal. And another story I have is in a different house. I believe this is before my mom had the daycare. We threw a party, and all the adults, they're partying, they're having a good time and stuff like that. And me and all my cousins and my friends went upstairs, and we started playing like spin the bottle, but with the phone. And if it landed on you, you had to call 911. Please never follow in my influence. Please and thank you. This is a warning. And so how we would do it is, if the tip of the phone, like the top of it, landed on you, then you would have to call 911. And at the time, we all kind of spoke English, but like we're still kind of fresh out the jungle, and we're still like very very young, like preschool to like first grade at the most. You feel me? So we are not very articulate. You hear them big words like that, you know what I'm saying? So I remember it landed on me and I called the cops, and they're like, 911, what's your emergency? And then I just didn't say anything, and then I just hung up, and we just kept doing that until eventually the cops actually showed up. And they're like, we got several calls from this house, da, da, da. We're also getting noise complaints, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, bro, we called the cops, and now the cops are really here. We're all freaking out because, we have the phone and stuff. Then my dad starts walking around. He's like, who has the phones? Who has the phones? And he finally gets upstairs and sees all of us playing freaking spin the phone, call the cops, freaking simulator 2.0 or whatever, man. And nothing really ended up happening. They just took the phone from us, because we didn't know any better. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. But another story that happened in that house was I remember my parents always told me, like, if we're not home, go to your cousin's house, which was like not that far, like maybe across the street from where I lived at the time. So they're like, if we're not home, like if you walk up to the house and you see there's no car, you see that we're not home, then just go to your cousin's house. And I was like, all right, cool. So not too long after they told me that, I'm coming back from school, you feel me? And my cousin's like, oh, can you come to our house? And I'm like, hold on, let me check if my parents are home. If they are, then I'll ask. If they're not, then yeah, I'll come with y'all. And so I go and I walk a little bit, because my house was like on the far left. And how it was parked, like you could park a car on the far left and you wouldn't see it. Like there's certain angles where you can see stuff, and there's certain angles where you can't. And my house was on the very very far left, not far left, but it was like the second to last house all the way on the left. So with certain angles you wouldn't be able to see it. And it seems like my parents parked in an angle where I couldn't see the car, because I walk up there, I don't see them, the shades on the house are all drawn, and I'm like, all right, they're not home, cool. I head over and I start walking with my cousin. We're heading back to her place. Then the day passes, time's ticking. Like I get out of school maybe 2, I would say. Now it's 3. My parents aren't there yet to get me. 4. My parents are still not there to get me. 5. They're still not there. And at the time, I was a kid, and I still very strongly am this way. I don't like to eat at other people's houses. And that's not like, oh, other people's houses have like bad food or anything, but it's just how I was raised in a sense. Like growing up, my parents were like, unless food is offered to you, do not ask for food. And so I would never ask for food, and even when it was offered to me, I just didn't want to take it. And so I got home from school at 2. It's now 6, 7, 8, and I have not eaten because I refuse to eat. And everyone that knew me back in Illinois, like adult wise, will tell you that at people's houses, I do not eat. That's not what I do. Unless my parents are there and they give me the green light, I'm not touching anything that you hand me. That's just how I was. And so it's like 8 o'clock. My parents still aren't there. I'm kind of freaking out because it's starting to get dark. I can't walk back home in the dark. You know what I'm saying? That's not good. Stuff like that. And then we get a knock at the door. So me and my cousins, we're all chilling in their room, and we're all just vibing out. Then we all peek our head out, to see what's going on, what's the word. And it's this like tall, 6'3". I mean, I don't know how tall he was. Granted, I was a little kid, so anyone above like my height was considered tall. But he was tall, like he almost hit the door, like the top of the door. This tall, like pretty muscly white cop is there, and he's like, I'm looking for Driss. I was like, wait, I do. And so I go over there and I'm like, hello. And he's like, where have you been? Your parents have been looking for you. They found you as a missing person, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, I've just been at my cousin's house all day. And they're like, all right, just sit here where I can see you. And so he sits down on the couch and he calls for backup or whatever. And I just sit there and I watch TV all the way until my parents end up coming. And they're like, where were you? Did we were home the entire time. You didn't come home. We ran around looking at the school. We went around town. We called the police. Da, da. And I'm like, I was at my cousin's house. I didn't know y'all was home. Like, I didn't see the car. So I just came over there. And they're like, no, you're supposed to go and knock at the door or do something. You can't just look and then assume we're not home. I was like, I mean, oops, I guess. And then in that same house, another, like, my cousins, those cousins' house were to the left, I could describe it. Then my other cousin's house was to the right. Now I remember one day my cousins to the right, their houses had gotten broken into, and I remember I don't remember exactly what we did, but we came back the next day, and the windows are all broken, their stuff's broken, there's glass everywhere, all this, their stuff's taken, stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, what's wrong? What happened? And she's like, these kids wanted to ride our bikes while we were gone, and we said no. So they came back and broke into the house and broke all of our stuff and took all of our stuff and this, that, and the third. I was like, bro, what? People are really tripping. Like, I remember them telling us that, and it just like made me mad. Like, I just wanted to enact revenge. You know what I'm saying? But that's really the end of the story. Like, nothing really happened past that because it's like, not to my knowledge at least, I don't live with my cousins, you feel me? So whatever happened happened. But yeah, another story, this one is more of a daycare story. What the oh yeah, okay, my bad, I was reading down the script at stuff that happened. So I remember at one of our other houses. This is when my mom had already, started up her daycare and stuff like that. Me and this kid, I forgot what his name was, but me and this kid, would play fight, and we used to play fight all the time. And he used to look at me kind of like a older brother figure, you know what I'm saying? And so we're play fighting, and he had just eaten. Mind you, he had just eaten like 5 minutes ago. We're play fighting, And then I jump up, run up, and like sidekick him straight to the stomach. And he immediately grabs his stomach and he's like, oh, oh. And I'm like, oh, my bad, bro, my bad. Did that hurt and all this type of stuff? And he's like, I'm done playing. And I'm like, all right, my bad. Do you want me to do anything? This, then the third. I'm trying to calm him down, try to see what's wrong with him. And then he just stands there for a second, and I'm like, what's about to happen? What's wrong with him? Is he playing? Is he laughing? And he just throws up everywhere, just throws up super hard. And I don't remember exactly, I don't think I got in trouble for that actually. I'm pretty sure he vouched for me, and he was just like, no, I just didn't feel good. I was like, bro, I just kicked your stomach in, and you just held it down. Like, true GOAT status right there. That is a true 10 out of 10. He's a legend for that. And I remember at that house getting my red ring of death on my Xbox Connect, and I remember my dad fixing it for me. I don't know how he did it, but I remember I was so depressed. I was so sad when that happened. I was like, Dad, my Xbox won't turn on. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just red, and I gave it to him. And then like a week later, maybe even less than that, probably. I remember like peeking in his office, and this man would spend day in, day out trying to fix it for me. And I remember I peeked in, and he had like taken apart the entire Xbox, like down to the skeleton of it. It was crazy. I was like, bro, like, genuinely speaking, I'm very appreciative for my parents and just how they raised me and how they built me to be the person that I am. Like, granted, in a lot of my stories, it kind of makes them seem like the bad guy, but that's only because it comes from my perspective. And even though like that might be how it seems, they're genuinely great parents, like 10 out of 10, best I could ask for, you know what I'm saying? And I remember him giving it back to me, and I was just so happy that he had fixed it. And I don't know, like that was just so amazing to me. But besides that, there's not many other stories that I have besides like I remember falling asleep on the bus going to elementary school once, and I kind of woke up for like a split second when the bus had stopped and we were at my school, but I was just so tired I just laid back down like I did not care, bro. And I wake back up and there's like all types of different kids on the bus, and I still didn't care. Nobody was like, I've never seen this kid before, so I'll go back to sleep. Then I wake back up, the bus is empty, and I'm assuming he was headed to the depot. I get up and I'm like, did I miss my stop? And he's like, what? How are you on the bus? He's like freaking out. He's like spazzing and all this stuff. He's like, what school do you go to? I'm like, I go to Stratton. And then he's like, oh, okay. And you know, he takes me back to the school. We're cool, whatever. And the school starts questioning me, all these different types of questions. Then whenever I get back on the bus, he asks me, he's like, no, when I'm getting off the bus that day, he was like, what did the school ask you? And I'm like, they asked me why I was still on the bus and stuff like that. And all I told them was I fell asleep. And yeah, that was that. Elementary school wasn't too hectic, wasn't too crazy. But the fact that I don't remember exactly why. I believe it was because I was constantly late, and the front desk lady knew me and my parents, that me and her were like super cool. Like as soon as she would see me, she would already start writing a late note, bro. Like it was crazy. And she was mad cool. Like I really liked her. And I believe in future years she ended up living in one of the houses that we used to live at, which that was pretty cool. Besides that, yeah, man, there wasn't much like crazy stuff that I did in elementary school or anything like that. I just remember like the basics. Like if I were to remember more stuff, I could do like a part 2 or something like that in the future. And I will eventually end up in the future, maybe when I have more subscribers, like maybe when I hit 100 or something, 100, 200 or something like that. I'll redo a lot of my videos because I finally learned how to take the little border, like the black bars that are on my videos. I finally figured out how to take that off. And I'm also my audio is a little bit better now, so that's, I'm working on getting better, you know what I'm saying? I apologize for the aim tester gameplay that's gonna be playing in the back. My keyboard was broken until today, for real. Like my A and O key wouldn't work. I don't know why that was I don't know, like O didn't really matter, but A is for my movement, WASD, that's how I move on the game, you feel me? And due to the fact that that was broken, I couldn't play any games except for aim tester. But I got really good at aim tester, as y'all can see in some of this gameplay. But yeah, in the last video, the music was actually, like, the music in the background was actually done by my friend Manny from his song Pope's Revival. You guys should go check that song out in the link in the description of the last video, and I will actually put it in the link in the description of this video. We just hit 11K in about like a week, so blow that song up, blow it up, get it up there, because him and my other friend Brandon were on that song and they really smacked up, you know what I'm saying? Go check them out. My other friend Zommers, XOMMERS, go check him out. If I can find it, I'll put the links of his stuff in the description below as well. Go check them all out, you know what I'm saying? Check out their music, they're fire. Maybe I'll get in the studio with them. Y'all will just have to stay tuned and check that out, you feel me? But I'll catch y'all all on the flip in the next video. Let's just see how this keeps going, man. Like, share, subscribe, do all that beautiful stuff, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Dr. Mallow out.